Hey guys, the Langbanger here. So I have a new profile for you, and I will say that it is a very budget-friendly deck. So you could certainly take this concept and you can adjust it to have, more expensive cards that are out there in the game. You can also adjust this to, whatever sort of metagame that you have around you. I mean, no one's really playing in person right now, but if your local is open or will open, you could certainly change up some things here. So this is Volcanic True Draco. So this was a concept that I saw online a couple of months ago. I thought it was very interesting, and it would be, two deck types that a lot of people wouldn't think that there's synergy, but there actually is. So the reason that I combine these two, so True Draco in general, right? You do the same thing. You're tributing your traps and your spells to bring out your monsters. Your opponent activates card effects, right? And then your monsters are going to net you advantage, right? Then you can tribute on your opponent's turn, etc., etc. So by combining True Draco, you have more destruction, you have a little bit of draw power, and you'll kind of just get the hang of, why I merged these two together. So first and foremost, you have 3 Ignis, you have 2 Maiden, and you have 1 Dynamite. I think that that's fairly standard for the most part. You could use a 3rd Majesty Maiden, I suppose, because that's going to net you your other monsters, but I think that's a good ratio there. So now on to the cool stuff. So you have 3 Volcanic Rocket, 3 Shell, and then 3 Scattershot. So just to show you guys here, when this card's sent to the grave, inflict 500 damage to your opponent, and then if this card's sent to the grave by a Blaze Accelerator effect, you can send 2 Volcanic Scatter Shots from your hand/deck to the grave to destroy all monsters your opponent controls. So that's really cool stuff right there. It's nice extra destruction, and you're actually going to see that we're going to go through monsters pretty quickly, and then we have ways to reuse those. So nothing too wild there. Volcanic Shell, while it's in your grave, pay 500, add another copy. It's just thinning out, and then again, you'll see how we get to reuse some cards here. And then, of course, Volcanic Rocket. So it's crazy. I've had all these cards for, years, and, some of these, I guess, have gone up a little bit. So I don't even know if Volcanic Rocket comes regular common, but, I have the DT ones, so... those are the monsters. So now you have 3 Disciples, you have 3 Heritage, you have 2 Duality, you have 2 Avarice, you have 1 Foolish Burial Goods, you have 1 Blaze Accelerator, 1 Draconic Diagram, and then 1 Terraforming. I was very iffy on even using Terraforming because you have 1 field spell, but this card is that good, I think that that's worth using. I mean, it would be unfortunate, I guess, in a way. I mean, if you draw this and then you draw into this, right, like you could just pop that with Diagram, but then, if you see Terraforming first, then that allows you to go into this and allows you to just, continue your plays or, get to where you're trying to go. So those are the spells. Onto the traps. This is where I guess it gets a little weird. So you have 2 Solemn, you have 2 Crackdown, you have 3 Apocalypse, you have 1 Return, you have 2 Blaze Accelerator Reload, and then you have a Skill Drain. Feels so odd to say 2 Solemns, but honestly, the room is crazy tight in here. I really couldn't, figure out what I'd want to cut for a 3rd Solemn, but I'm kind of liking these ratios right now. Skill Drain, I was kind of iffy on using that because, I do want Volcanic Rocket to go off, but then also I want my True Dracos to go off. But also then if you think about it, with Skill Drain up, right, like, it's going to be tough for your opponent to get over your monsters, especially with Diagram, so I thought that was worth it. Plus, then also your Shell activates in the grave, as well as Scattershot, so it's not negating that there. So from here, this card allows you to discard a Volcanic and draw a card, but then also you can banish this to send a Volcanic from the deck to the graveyard, I believe. So that's really cool stuff. So that's why you're seeing the one Foolish Burial Goods in there, just so you can get to this, get it into the grave, and it just has that added bonus to, kind of have disruption on your opponent's turn. Pot of Avarice, you're going to be able to reuse your scatter shots and potentially shells too. I mean, I don't know how often you'd want to go in the shell because paying 500 each time is a lot. But then also the scatter shot's going to be getting some damage in there as well. So maybe you will want to use those shells again. And there could be times where you'll tribute some of your true Dracos for like other true Dracos, or if they just die, you should have no problem having 5 monsters in the grave. So kind of a random concept. Hopefully you guys kind of get an idea of why all this kind of works together in ways. I just thought that true Draco, it kind of does what it does. It's not as consistent anymore, so I kind of felt like you had to combine something with it, right? Like you have one card of Demise, that's rough, one diagram. If we had more returns, I think that I would change up the way that this deck feels a little bit. But then also with Volcanics, right? Like that came out all the way back in Force of the Breaker. A lot of you probably don't even know what that set is, but Volcanic, it has not gotten support. There is a fire set coming up, so I'm kind of hopeful that it'll get some support. But Volcanic was always one of that cool, I don't want to say it's a deck type. Sure, it's officially a deck type, but really it's more so of an engine to me. But that's my opinion, so I figure I would combine the two, kind of some synergy and some fun stuff. So you could certainly customize this how you want. If you need to use Forbidden Chalice, maybe Dark Roller no more, right? Just so you can get your plays off, right? That kind of makes sense. So I kind of just left this as a custom show. I don't have any extra deck today. I normally do showcase one, but at least for this, right? Like I'm not using... why can I not even think of it? Monarchs Erupt, I'm sorry, brain freeze. So you do have the ability to use your extra deck if you choose. If you want to use Monarchs Erupt, I mean, you could maybe try that to some degree as well. I can't remember if Monarchs Erupt says monsters face up on the field or just monsters in general, because you want to make sure your Volcanics go off. So just be sure to check that. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day. Peace.